Presiding the weekly economic management meeting this Monday is Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Top on the agenda is updates on national trading platforms and harmonized digital identity. Nigeria's foreign reserves approaches $48 billion mark. Profit-taking characterizes Nigerian stock market but lost marginally on the week. Oil prices rise to the highest point since 2014 following tensions between US and Iran. This is Business Express reaching you from our Abuja studios of the NTA. I am Amina Nujain. In the news today, a combined 2 foreign exchange market interventions by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) on Wednesday at the weekend hit $559.34 million as the monetary policy maker sustained efforts to make the market liquid and stabilize the local currency. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) in its last intervention Friday injected $349.34 million in the retail secondary market intervention sales segment of the forex market. Meanwhile, the reserves stockpile maintained more than 18-month consecutive increases as the nation's forex buffer settled at $47.6 billion as at Friday. And still from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN has asked the settlement bank to provide clearing collateral of not less than 15 billion naira worth of treasury bills to enable them perform settlement roles. The directive was contained in the CBN's Monetary Credit, Foreign Trade and Exchange Policy Guidelines for fiscal years 2018-2019. The CBN said it would continue to categorize banks into settlement and non-settlement banks for the purpose of clearing and settlement. Settlement banks, it said, would participate directly in the clearing houses and receive their net clearing positions in their settlement account with the CBN, while the non-settlement banks will receive their net clearing positions through the settlement accounts of their settlement banks. The Apex lender said it would continue to adopt the risk-based supervision approach in the supervision of institutions under its regulatory purview. Now, a total volume of 457 million transactions valued at 32.48 trillion naira were recorded in the first quarter of 2018. This data on electronic payment channels in the Nigerian banking sector was released by the National Bureau of Statistics. Automated teller machines ATM transactions dominated the volume of transactions recorded, 212.37 million. At the end of the quarter, total number of bank staff decreased by 0.93% from 90,453 in the fourth quarter of 2017 to 89,608. The National Pension Commission (PENCOM) has said it will commence implementation of the Retirement Savings Account (RSA) multi-fund investment structure from the 1st of July 2018. Mr. Ibrahim Kangiwa of the Investment Supervision Department of PENCOM, who disclosed this, said the main objective of the RSA multi-fund investment structure is to resolve the challenge of asset liability risk management experienced by pension funds. This, he said, would be achieved by better aligning the risk and return expectations of contributors, better matching of pension assets and liabilities, as well as diversification of pension fund portfolios, as minimum limits are set for aggregate investment in variable income securities for each fund. Today on Business Express, we shall be discussing the investment opportunities that were brought to the fore when President Muhammadu Buhari visited Washington, D.C. and met with U.S. President Donald Trump. Leah Katung Babatunde in this report highlights the high points of discussions between the two presidents and the business community.
Discussions between President Muhammadu Buhari and his American counterpart Donald Trump centered on three key issues: security and counter-terrorism, trade, and development of democracy in Nigeria.
Our aim is to diversify our own economy by focusing on agriculture and food security, power and infrastructure. We have cut the importation of rice by 90%, thereby saving a significant amount of money.
In acknowledging the efforts of President Buhari and the significance of the Nigerian economy on the African continent, President Trump promised to grow trade and commercial ties between the two countries to create wealth and jobs for the benefit of its citizens.
We hope to be the economic partner of choice for nations across the continent and all around the world, and you see what's happening with respect to trade.
Talks were also held between the Nigerian delegation and American chief executive officers who came from across various industries, especially agriculture, digital economy, and increasing value additions to locally produced raw materials. Some of the broad-level business discussions on the sideline included the plan coming of a John Deere tractor assembly plant to produce 10,000 tractors, which will certainly create thousands of jobs in Nigeria. Other new businesses proposed at the meetings included the setting up of consumer products plants by big giants in Nigeria. It was also revealed that ASA's recovery is also getting a major boost. There is a roadmap for the recovery of $500 million of Nigerian stolen assets hidden in the US. With Nigeria seeking to achieve human capital development, President Trump brought with him the director of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. This, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, says is significant to Nigeria, given the fact that the U.S. remains the largest contributor to the ongoing efforts to reconstruct the Northeast and resettle its millions of displaced persons. The U.S. is supporting the humanitarian situation in the Northeast with $500 million through the United Nations and other intergovernmental organizations. On agriculture, President Trump revealed the intention of the United States to open up its market to the Nigerian farmers for mutual exchange of agricultural produce and farm implements. Also, on the table were several investment proposals across the food value chain. Presidential media aide Garba Shehu, who was in Washington, is optimistic that government will smartly work with the current American government as a strategic partner on security, anti-corruption, economic growth, and job creation. Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
Many thanks, Leah. Joining me to further analyze the economic opportunities and other issues is Sunday Ohiene. He is an expert on value chain. Welcome to Business Express today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Now, going by that background report, President Donald Trump of the U.S. is asking Nigeria to open opportunities for U.S. to come into Nigeria and invest. What do you make of this request?
Well, it's the greatest opportunity in many years for Nigeria to do business with the United States of America. Mr. Trump is a very frank gentleman who is no respecter of anyone. He tells the truth all the time. But when he met our president, President Muhammadu Buhari, he found somebody he can work with, to the extent that he said he was going to come visit Nigeria because of our own president. So it is an open check, and it's for us to be as smart as we can to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, I always say that Nigeria can be like America in 4 years if we put our acts together.
Now, talking about U.S.-Nigeria relations, President Trump promised to grow trade and volumes of commercial ties between the two countries for the benefit of citizens. Would you say this is good for the Nigerian economy?
Of course, it's still an opportunity. Way back, over 10 years ago, American government went into a policy called AGOA, African Growth and Opportunity Act, which opened the borders of America to Africans to bring their products to the streets of America and sell, the way they sell on the streets in Nigeria here. But apparently, we were not smart enough to take advantage. And that opportunity is still there for us. So I think all we need now is to look for those who will help Mr. President to take advantage of this relationship and grow our economy to be like the United States economy.
Now, talking about growing our economy, you are a value chain expert.
Yes.
And one of the areas that is receiving urgent attention is agriculture in an attempt to diversify the economy. Now, looking at it from the value chain point of view, what does this mean for Nigeria?
Again, it's an opportunity for us to strengthen the value chain systems of our major commodities, which become food and fiber for the global market. Market drives the value chain system. And the discussion, the relationship between Nigeria and the United States of America opens up a world of opportunity for Nigeria to be back on the global market. But for us to be back on the global market, we need smart people who will prepare the framework plans and systems that would put Nigeria on the path to achieving that market access. As it is now, I don't think we're organized.
That brings me to my next question. If we are going to talk about taking advantage of opportunities because of these trade relations, renewed friendship on trade relations between Nigeria and the US, is Nigeria ready in the short term to achieve these set targets, or do we need to make long-term plans to achieve these targets?
We need to make both short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans. And all will have to be within our own perceived targets for achieving prosperity for our people, job creation for our people, incomes for our people, poverty reduction for our people, ensuring that people don't go to bed hungry in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, as it is, I have not seen the framework plan that can guarantee our engagement with the United States of America. And I know it is possible to prepare that.
Sure. So in the long term, what do we need to put in ground to take advantage of this opportunity?
In the long term, we have to agree on certain targets. Infrastructure must be in place. Issues of, like, when I talk of infrastructure, I'm also talking about reserve systems, food reserve systems, you know, the storage facilities. If Nigeria consumes 6 to 10 million metric tons of particular products, we should be able to hold the product that will supply the needs of Nigerians for 1 year at least. Other countries have holding systems, reserve systems that hold their food systems for 10 years. But as it is in Nigeria, we don't even have a reserve system that will guarantee supply of any particular commodity for 1 year to our own population, not to talk of exporting to other countries.
Now, moving on, should Nigeria consider a viable industrial plan considering the nature of trade between the two countries, Nigeria and the US?
Of course, definitely. We must have a plan. And it's got to be an industrial plan that will guarantee...
Before we talk about having an industrial plan, what do we have now that is workable?
As it is now, I think we have policies and some strategies, but I'm not seeing a plan that has a budget component that we can say we are on track or there are gaps to achieve the desirable targets, we need to have a definite plan, which is not exactly in place. And when I say a plan has features. A plan has the priority projects and programs. It has a robust monitoring and evaluation system, and it has a budget. It also has a risk assessment, a risk analysis, you know. We need something in place, just like other countries have. Nigeria is supposed to be on the same level with China, Brazil, India, and others. But we are not there, just because we don't have our framework plan in place. In fact, if you have 5 million naira today to invest in agriculture, do you know where to put it?
Would the ERGP help?
Of course, ERGP is a framework system that is being put in place. But we need to ensure that the agriculture component of the ERGP is robust enough, because Nigeria's economy can be driven based on agriculture. In fact, our industrialization can be based on agriculture.
But you're talking about agriculture. Now we're looking at the bigger picture.
Yes.
The ERGP is addressing a wide variety of sectors in the Nigerian economy.
Yes.
So let's talk about these sectors in terms of trying to meet up what you think should be on ground.
ERGP appears to be a framework that must stand on certain pillars. Agriculture is one of them. Solid minerals is one of them. And entrepreneurship, all these small and medium enterprises should be a kind of components that make up the ERGP. But who is driving the various pillars that are part and parcel of the ERGP? Okay. For example, if we take agriculture, agriculture is beyond one ministry as structured in Nigeria now, because you have irrigation systems, which is based in Water Resources Ministry. You have trade and industry, which is the basis of processing, packaging, labeling, and marketing. And then you have the production, which is in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay. Let's move slightly away from that.
Yeah.
Part of the agenda is to open up renowned conglomerate brands.
Yeah.
Now, there are opportunities for job there.
Yes.
Looking at the value chain,
yes,
how would this impact the Nigerian economy?
Obviously, if we have conglomerates that have brands of particular products, the tendency is for us to have more jobs for our unemployed youths. And at this time, I want to, before I forget, I want to congratulate the governor of Central Bank for his Anchor Borrowers program, because he's impacting on the value chain system drastically. I also know that other people are impacting on the agriculture system. Okay. But one thing missing in this whole effort in the agriculture industry is coordination.
Okay.
We need a coordinator.
Sunday Ohiene,
yes.
It's been a pleasure talking to you on Business Express today.
All right.
Let's do it again.
It's a pleasure.
Now, moving on. U.S. oil prices rose above $70 a barrel on Monday for the first time since November 2014, as a deepening economic crisis in Venezuela threatened the country's already tumbling oil supply. Here is a graphic representation of commodities as compiled by Bosede Ebel. It's a new trading week and profit taking is taking its toll on the capital market as results stream in. Stocks streamed gains at the end of the week ended Friday, the 4th of May 2018, losing marginally by 0.06%. Let's have details from Bosede Abel.
Last Tuesday, May 1st, 2018 was declared public holiday by the federal government of Nigeria in commemoration of Workers' Day, making it 4 days trading sessions in the course of the week. A total turnover of 1.3 billion shares worth 20.8 billion naira in 18,695 deals were traded by investors on the floor of the exchange. The NSE All-Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 0.06% to close the week at 41,218.72 and 14.9 trillion naira. All other indices finished lower with the exception of NSE Premium, NSE Banking, NSE Industrial Goods and NSE Pension indices that appreciated by 0.12%, 1.56%, 1.06% and 0.21%, while the NSE ASEM closed flat. The financial services industry led the activity chart, contributing 78.32% and 54.11% to the total equity turnover, volume and value. The consumer goods industry followed with 84.1 million shares worth 4.3 billion naira in 3,691 deals. The third place was occupied by oil and gas industry with a turnover of 51.9 million shares worth 596.4 million naira in 2,307 deals. Trading in the top 3 equities, namely United Bank for Africa PLC, Mutual Benefits Assurance PLC and Access Bank PLC, accounted for 457.9 million shares worth 3.7 billion naira in 1,469 deals, contributing 34.41% and 18.16% to the total equity turnover, volume and value. Also traded were a total of 709,058 units of exchange-traded products, ETPs, valued at 3.8 million naira executed in 10 deals. A total of 80,152 units of federal government and state bonds, valued at 82.5 million naira, were traded last week in 14 deals. 37 equities appreciated in price during the week, while 32 equities depreciated in price.
Many thanks, Bosede. Global stocks resumed the week strong, buoyed by impressive oil prices and commodity prices. Musa Abubakar has an outlook of global stocks.
African equities closed mixed Friday. South Africa JSE Top 40, Tun Index and Namibia overall posted gains, while Nairobi SC20 and Ghana GSE Composite declined 0.72 and 0.04%. U.S. large-cap stocks changed little on the week, even as daily market moves continue to be volatile. Dow Jones Industrial Average closed Friday at 24,263, posting a weekly decline of 0.2%. S&P 500 closed 2,663 to record 0.2%, while Nasdaq ended last week's session with a gain of 1.3%. In Europe, FTSE rose 0.3% Friday to finish the week at 2.2% gain. CAC and DAX all added gains of 1.6% and 1.9% for the week. Asian markets put in mixed performance last week, with several holidays muting volumes across the region and market ending on a weak footing. China's Shanghai Composite gained 0.2%. Nikkei finished the week flat with 0.02% gain, and Hang Seng Index posted weekly loss of 1.2%.
Now, it is no longer news that Nigeria has signed a currency swap deal with China to the tune of $2.5 billion. What is this deal and what are its benefits to the economy? Let's listen to this perspective from Professor Uche Owaleke, the head of Department Business and Finance, Nasarawa State University.
these are facts that we know now, that the size is about 15 billion yuan, as the equivalent of about $2.5 billion, and then of course the naira equivalent is around 720 billion naira. Now, if you do 720 billion on 15 billion yuan, that gives you at an exchange rate of maybe 1 yuan to 48 naira. So of course the currency, in a currency swap, we're exchanging naira for the yuan at a predetermined exchange rate. So I think it's something that is welcome, particularly for our economy now. Is no doubt going to ease liquidity, inject liquidity in that particularly for those who are importing from China, and for Chinese businessmen too, who are also taking things from Nigeria. So there will be RMB liquidity for Nigerian businessmen, and there will also be naira liquidity for Chinese businessmen. So it is no doubt going to boost trade, bilateral trade, between Nigeria and China.
Professor Uche Owaleke there. Now let's see how currencies are trading. And that's it on Monday's edition of Business Express. The program returns on Wednesday. I'm Amina Nujaim. Thank you for watching.